If you're an author or plan to be one, get excited because this podcast is for you. Book Marketing Mentors is the only podcast dedicated to helping you successfully market and sell your book. If you're ready for empowering conversations with successful marketing mavens, then grab a coffee or tea and listen in to your host, international best-selling author Susan Friedmann.
Welcome to Book Marketing Mentors, the weekly podcast where you learn proven strategies, tool tips, and ideas from the masters, which also includes me, your host, Susan Friedmann, the author, marketing mentor, and influencer. Hey, I'm back again. If you listen to episode 329 on how to best crush your marketing money mindset, I started the conversation on mindset. Specifically, this episode focused on the first of 4 stumbling blocks that often stand in the way of authors marketing their books, and that is the lack of money. Today, the focus is on the second stumbling block, and that is the lack of time. I bet every one of you listening has at one time or other used the "I haven't got the time" excuse. Whether it was saying it to a friend, family member, or maybe just to yourself. Let's be honest. Have you ever felt like you really had enough time? I know I haven't. We never think or even admit that we have enough time in a day to get all the things done on our to-do list. Even though it's hard to admit, it's really a convenient excuse because it sounds so reasonable, and we think people understand because they often are challenged with the exact same dilemma. Yet, if you're really honest about it, the truth is it's rather lame and a cop-out. Why? Because time is one of the few things in life where there's a level playing field. Every one of us, no matter who we are or where we live, time isn't concerned with our financial situation, our race, our religion, our sexual orientation, or anything else that separates one human being from another. The fact is that we all get the same 24 hours a day. However, have you ever wished that you could have an extra hour in the day? Imagine what you could do with that extra hour. Sleeping in, taking a walk in the woods or on the beach. There are myriad things you could do. Yet, if I offered you an extra hour, would that actually be enough? Perhaps for one day. However, I bet you'd come back asking for more. Why? Because an extra hour just wouldn't be enough. Plain and simple, let's just admit that we rarely say, if ever, that we have enough time to get things done. I know that when I complete one to-do list, there's another one waiting in the wings, ready for me to start afresh. Let me contradict what I've just been saying. Have you ever found that when you're truly passionate and absorbed in a project, such as a hobby, a cause, or spending time with special people in your life, magically, as if out of nowhere, enough time just happens? I love to swim, kayak, do yoga, take a walk in nature. And I know that when I do something I love, time becomes timeless and just seems to evaporate. Worrying about my to-do list just isn't something that I'm at all concerned about. So take a moment and think about the things you enjoy doing. If you really want to do something, whatever it is, I guarantee you'll find the time to do it. Hey, you wanted to write a book and magically you found time to write because it was important to you. I recall writing my first book. I put aside 2 hours every evening from 7 to 9 p.m. as my writing time. My goal was to write at least 2 pages every night. Some days that was so easy and I could just let it rip and would keep writing for as long as I could keep my eyes open. On other days, however, it was sheer agony. I could barely think straight, and putting 2 words on a page was a struggle. Yet the bum glue I used didn't unstick itself until 2 pages were written or typed. I persevered until the book was finally done. Whatever method you used, you also got it done. Or perhaps you're just still finishing it up. If that's the case, keep using the bum glue. I guarantee it's highly effective. You found time to write, to get your thoughts, your important message out, whether handwritten or typed, it didn't matter. You got it done. Now the book is done, you want everyone to read it. It's your baby, and you want to show it off to the world. You want to yell at the top of your lungs from every rooftop in town. You want everyone to come and see and admire your brand new baby. If you saw the musical Fiddler on the Roof, you might recall the scene when Tevye got a brand new sewing machine. He was so excited. He wanted the whole village to come over to admire and gloat over his new acquisition. Isn't that the same with your book? You want the world to know, but the world can't know about your book unless you tell them. Using time as an excuse for not marketing your book is a cop-out. It's a feeble excuse with no legs to stand on, and no apologies for my bluntness. What separates the achievers from the non-starters is the way they leverage time. They control their time rather than letting time control them. Let me repeat that. They control their time rather than letting time control them. In other words, they make the most of every minute. I've had a foot in both camps. I've been the non-starter or the no-time excuse agent. This is when I believed I had to have all my ducks in a row and have a big block of time available to get things done. Basically, the conditions had to be perfect before I could even get started. In fact, what I really needed to do was stop thinking about getting started and literally just start. Many years ago, I was a trainer for the Fred Price Seminar Company. I would travel around the US teaching a time management workshop. In the beginning, I thought this was a joke, as I was still suffering from the perfection condition syndrome when it came to getting things done. Then I realized that if I was teaching others how to better manage their time, I'd better start to put into practice what I was actually teaching. The best technique I taught was very simple. Just set a timer for 5 minutes and do as much as you can in the time. Once the alarm goes off, you have a choice to stop or to keep going. If you're like me, once I get into a project, it's often hard to stop. Perhaps you remember your high school physics. You probably learned about Newton's first law of motion, which is actually also called the law of inertia. The law states that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. The simple form of this law is that things want to stay in the position they're in, and things want to keep doing what they are doing. Just think about the days you enjoyed writing and compare them with the days where the last thing you wanted to do was write, yet you still did it. For me, it was those days where I needed that extra dollop of the bum glue. The big question now is, how do you find the time you need? Since time plays such a key role in your book marketing, yet it's the excuse so many authors like to use for not getting the job done, let's take a look at how you can find the time you need. If you analyze the real reason for your time excuse, chances are that uncertainty of what to do and how to do it are often part of the equation. Now, that's not your fault, because without the fundamentals, you're bound to feel uncertain and perhaps even awkward. Almost everyone does when they are faced with having to learn something new, be it a foreign language, a sport, or a skill, there are three essentials needed. These are the what, the how, and the why. You need to know what to do, how to do it, and why you want to do it. There are marketing books galore explaining what to do and how to do it. However, the third question is the personal one. Why do you want to do it? The motive or impetus to implement what to do and how to do it lies 100% on your shoulders. It's this why that makes the difference between your success or your failure. Any of the marketing experts can offer you the best tips, techniques, tools, and tactics. But if you lack the motivation to put them into practice, no magic wand or any pixie dust is going to do the trick. It's a strange phenomena that you want to sell more books, and yet you can't free up enough time during the day to devote to marketing that is telling the world about your book. It's a fact that you manage to find the time and inspiration to write your book, so why not find a few minutes every day to market it? In plain English, I'm going to tell you that if you really want to get your books into the hands of readers, you're going to have to do something to help make that happen without any ifs, ands, or buts. To take control of your time commitment takes fortitude and willpower. What I've found is that if I don't schedule time on my calendar for writing, marketing, and learning, then I know that it just won't happen. How do I know this? I fail to keep commitments with myself far too often. Most of the time, it's because of simply failing to schedule the time. Here's a simple strategy that works. Set a specific intention for the week. That is an intention about one significant thing you'd like to accomplish to market your book. Obviously, this intention should be a small step towards a much bigger goal. Perhaps it's getting started on something, or maybe it's finishing something. Maybe it's doing something you've been putting off. It doesn't matter what, so long as it's going to help you move closer to realizing your goal. For example, you could research podcasts that are interested in interviewing subject matter experts. You could research industry events that are looking for speakers on your topic. You could write an article on one aspect of your expertise and post it on a social media platform that attracts your target audience. And there are many, many more things you could do based on your BHAG. That is your big, hairy, audacious goal. That's a phrase that Jim Collins coined in his international best-selling book, From Good to Great. This is definitely a book worth reading. Once you know what to do, then carve out 15 to 30 minutes every day to work on your marketing. If this puts a strain on your schedule, whittle it down to an amount of time that's comfortable and works for you based on the other commitments that you have. What you're doing here is making an appointment with yourself. Now, of course, you're accountable for keeping that appointment. The key is to do something, however small, on a daily basis to help move you and your book on the author success meter. I challenge you to give the timer method a try and let me know how you did. In conclusion, what you're doing in this exercise is taking control of your time instead of letting your time control you. And then remember to think twice about using the cop-out line, I don't have time. If you really want to do something, you'll find the time. I've got total confidence in you. If you're interested in brainstorming some marketing ideas with me, I invite you to go to brainstormwithsusan.com to schedule your complimentary 20-minute session with me. This is a quick roll-up-your-sleeves session where we'll put our heads together to come up with at least 3 ideas you can use to market your book. Again, that address is brainstormwithsusan.com. So until we meet again in a couple of weeks, when we'll discuss the third stumbling block, namely lack of marketing and sales expertise. Here's wishing you much book and author marketing success.
The time is now to take action and finally build your book-selling empire. And the great news is that Susan is here to help you. Visit bookmarketingmentors.com and sign up for a free 15-minute book marketing strategy session with Susan. She'll help you discover your first steps to marketing and selling your book. Only those who take action are rewarded, so visit bookmarketingmentors.com, and we'll see you again next week.